I grew up in a church congregation that was full of the older generation, and so I grew up going to nursing homes and just loved helping other people. It's always been in my mind, always been there, always knew for sure. And my aunt was also a nurse, and so I'd hear stories at like Thanksgiving and Christmas of what she had seen and what she'd been doing, and I wanted to at least try it out, see how it went. So I went ahead and chose Southern Union because they're more hands-on, in my opinion. You feel extremely prepared when you come out. Not only do they do lecture, they also do lab, and lab is your chance to have like your hands-on experiences and perfecting those. They prepare you for when you get out into the actual like clinical or whatever, and you want to make sure that you're doing it exactly right. I actually started doing a job search before I finished. Before my final, I started looking around because I knew that there were jobs out there available. So I applied to a few places, and then I applied here, and it just worked out how it's supposed to. It's really just knowing that I'm helping someone, especially these residents who need it the most. They need a kind, smiling face, when you come in and when the whole time that you're taking care of them. And I think that's what's most satisfying is, knowing that I took good care of them and did my job how I've always wanted to. Some things you don't expect and that you learn, and you learn that each resident has a certain way of doing things, and you have to learn those, and because this is their home and you're just working in it. So feel amazing, accomplished, and you feel like you're finally doing what you were meant to do.